So let's talk about the Democrats. Another big night for Bernie Sanders. This is his 6th win now, straight win.
Yes, it is. And this one is in a primary, which makes it even bigger, quite frankly. So you look at the map here, and the story you see is this little blue dot down here. This is Milwaukee. Now,
big city.
Big city. Small area there, so you do have to point to it on the map. But that's the big city. There, Hillary Clinton won. And look at everything else. Bernie Sanders, a sweeping win, especially in and around, we said this at the start of the show,
Madison.
in and around Madison.
College town.
College town, a lot of liberal Democrats there, but it starts there. But what really is interesting to me is this big win in all these areas around Green Bay. These are working class Democrats. These are your blue collar Democrats here and everything west of here, and he won those too. And that's what is the difference between a narrow win and a convincing win that he won tonight.
So let's take a look at how he was able to win in some of the spots that surprised you a little bit. Young voters, look at this number. Should Hillary Clinton be concerned?
Well, if Clinton holds on to her delegate lead and goes on into the general, she will need to pull over young voters. She will need to find some way to say, hey, you've been with Bernie Sanders for this whole primary campaign, now come over to me. Yes, because the younger vote is so important to the Democratic vote in a general election. So short answer is yes.
And then you look at men and liberals.
Right.
What do you take away from these two numbers?
Well, the gender gap here is a little bit striking. Now, Bernie Sanders has done well with men before. These are very big numbers. When he wins among women, that makes it an even bigger win for him. That's not what we're showing here. However, that's a big gender gap. And then liberals, this is much like we saw Ted Cruz has to capitalize on things that favor him.
This is what Bernie Sanders had to do.
Exactly.
Back to the young voters, what I thought was interesting looking along the lines, too, of the sexes is women voters. He did particularly well with young women again.
Yes. And, he just has to hold his own among women generally, and certainly among young women, and then build up the gap when he gets to younger men and men overall, and that's how you win statewide. But there again, to your point, right, these are younger voters who are siding with Bernie Sanders. They're not necessarily listening to Hillary Clinton's message. How does she turn them around if she moves on to November?
Well, and she's trying to do that now in New York with some of the appearances that she made on different shows and in different places around New York. So do we just really have to kind of look to the next contest with this one? I
think we do, and I think the thing you look at is the economy. Right? On economic issues, younger voters are extremely concerned. I mean, think about it. They came of age into a recession. We're talking about millennials, some folks even younger. They came of age into a recession. They've had a hard time finding jobs. They tell us in every poll that for them, the economy isn't working. Plus, they're cynical about it. They think it doesn't work, period. And so for someone who is of that mindset, who thinks that the whole system is flawed, that's a big hill to climb if you are not already getting those votes. You have to turn around a much larger worldview than just, hey, we'll make the economy better.
All right, well, April 19th will be here before we know it, right?
Indeed.
All right, Elaine, thank you for having us on at the Decision Desk tonight. We've been crunching all the numbers.
And have you had fun in your first night here in Nerdland?
It's been a blast. I've learned so much.
Yeah.
I love to hear you guys geek out. I just love it.
We have so much enjoyed having Jamie up here. It has been a blast. She's been a great sport as we get bleary-eyed looking at all these numbers.
I've never enjoyed math so much, Anthony.
All right. Thanks, Jamie. Thanks, Anthony. Appreciate it.